RMS Titanic was a British passenger liner, operated by the White Star Line, which sank in the North Atlantic Ocean on the 15th of April 1912 after striking an iceberg during her maiden voyage from Southampton, England, to New York City, United States. Of the estimated 2,224 passengers and crew aboard, more than 1,500 died, making it the deadliest sinking of a single ship up to that time. It remains the deadliest peacetime sinking of an ocean liner or cruise ship. The disaster drew public attention, provided foundational material for the disaster film genre, and has inspired many artistic works. RMS Titanic was the largest ship afloat at the time she entered service and the second of three Olympic-class ocean liners operated by the White Star Line. She was built by the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast. Thomas Andrews, the chief naval architect of the shipyard, died in the disaster. Titanic was under the command of Captain Edward Smith, who went down with the ship. The ocean liner carried some of the wealthiest people in the world, as well as hundreds of emigrants from the British Isles, Scandinavia, and elsewhere throughout Europe, who were seeking a new life in the United States and Canada. The first-class accommodation was designed to be the pinnacle of comfort and luxury, with a gymnasium, swimming pool, smoking rooms, high-class restaurants and cafes, a Turkish bath and hundreds of opulent cabins. A high-powered radio telegraph transmitter was available for sending passenger marconigrams and for the ship's operational use. Titanic had advanced safety features, such as watertight compartments and remotely activated watertight doors, contributing to its reputation as unsinkable. Titanic was equipped with 16 lifeboat davits, each capable of lowering 3 lifeboats, for a total of 48 boats. She carried only 20 lifeboats, 4 of which were collapsible and proved hard to launch while she was sinking. Collapsible nearly swamped and was filled with a foot of water until rescue. Collapsible B completely overturned while launching. Together, the 20 lifeboats could hold 1,178 people, about half the number of passengers on board, and one-third of the number of passengers the ship could have carried at full capacity, consistent with the maritime safety regulations of the era. When the ship sank, the lifeboats that had been lowered were only filled up to an average of 60%. The name Titanic derives from the Titans of Greek mythology. Built in Belfast, Ireland, in what was then the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, RMS Titanic was the second of the 3 Olympic-class ocean liners. The first was RMS Olympic and the third was HMHS Britannic. Britannic was originally to be called Gigantic and was to be over 1,000 feet, 300 meters, long. They were by far the largest vessels of the British shipping company White Star Line's fleet, which comprised 29 steamers and tenders in 1912. The 3 ships had their genesis in a discussion in mid-1907 between the White Star Line's chairman, J. Bruce Ismay, and the American financier J.P. Morgan, who controlled the White Star Line's parent corporation, the International Mercantile Marine Company. The White Star Line faced an increasing challenge from its main rivals, Cunard, which had recently launched Lusitania and Mauretania, the fastest passenger ships then in service, and the German lines Hamburg America and Norddeutscher Lloyd. Ismay preferred to compete on size rather than speed, and proposed to commission a new class of liners that would be larger than anything that had gone before, as well as being the last word in comfort and luxury. The White Star Line sought an upgrade of its fleet primarily in order to respond to the introduction of the Cunard giants, but also to considerably strengthen its position on the Southampton-Cherbourg, New York service that had been inaugurated in 1907. The new ships would have sufficient speed to maintain a weekly service with only 3 ships instead of the original 4. Thus, the Olympic and Titanic would replace RMS Teutonic of 1889, RMS Majestic of 1890 as well as RMS Adriatic of 1907. RMS Oceanic would remain on the route until the 3rd new ship could be delivered. Citation needed, Majestic would be brought back into her old spot on White Star Line's New York service after Titanic's loss. The ships were constructed by the Belfast shipbuilder Harland and Wolff, which had a long-established relationship with the White Star Line dating back to 1867. Harland and Wolff was given a great deal of latitude in designing ships for the White Star Line. The usual approach was for the latter to sketch out a general concept which the former would take away and turn into a ship design. Cost considerations were a relatively low priority. Harland and Wolff was authorized to spend what it needed on the ships, plus a 5% profit margin. In the case of the Olympic-class ships, a cost of £3 million, approximately £310 million in 2019, for the first two ships was agreed plus extras to contract and the usual 5% fee. Harland and Wolff put their leading designers to work designing the Olympic-class vessels. The design was overseen by Lord Perry, a director of both Harland and Wolff and the White Star Line. Naval architect Thomas Andrews, the managing director of Harland and Wolff's design department, Edward Wilding, Andrews' deputy and responsible for calculating the ship's design, stability and trim, and Alexander Carlisle, the shipyard's chief draftsman and general manager. Carlisle's responsibilities included the decorations, equipment and all general arrangements, including the implementation of an efficient lifeboat davit design. On the 29th of July 1908, Harland and Wolff presented the drawings to J. Bruce Ismay and other White Star Line executives. Ismay approved the design and signed 3 letters of agreement 2 days later, authorizing the start of construction. At this point the first ship, which was later to become Olympic, had no name, but was referred to simply as number 400, as it was Harland and Wolff's 400th hull. Titanic was based on a revised version of the same design and was given the number 401. Titanic's passengers numbered approximately 1,317 people. 324 in first class, 284 in second class, and 709 in third class. Of these, 869, 66%, were male and 447, 34%, female. There were 107 children aboard, the largest number of whom were in third class. The ship was considerably under capacity on her maiden voyage, as she could accommodate 2,453 passengers, 833 first class, 614 second class, and 1,006 third class. Usually, a high-prestige vessel like Titanic could expect to be fully booked on its maiden voyage. However, a national coal strike in the UK had caused considerable disruption to shipping schedules in the spring of 1912, causing many crossings to be cancelled. Many would-be passengers chose to postpone their travel plans until the strike was over. The strike had finished a few days before Titanic sailed, however, that was too late to have much of an effect. Titanic was able to sail on the scheduled date only because coal was transferred from other vessels which were tied up at Southampton, such as SS City of New York and RMS Oceanic.